If the internet gods are once again with us, we are streaming live from Zoom into your phone, into wherever it is that you're watching us. It's Johnny and the Greg, man, and Happy New Year to everybody. We are, we're already in there. This is we're recording the second, so it's only the second day of January. We got hammered. Snow came down.
Snow, yeah. We had a little, but it wasn't terrible. But I was watching because I just happened to check your weather now too. Yeah, you guys got messed up.
You know what? I'm gonna take that back. It does. Okay, when I know a big storm's coming, I tend to go out and shovel at least 3 or 4 times.
Okay.
During the entire process, I don't wait till it's all done and then go out.
Yeah.
So it didn't seem bad to me, but I was only like doing like 1.5 inches every time. So it didn't seem bad to me. But how much did you guys get? I'm guessing, Greg, it wasn't a big deal. It was like 5 inches, maybe.
Yeah.
We were supposed to get like 9, but that didn't happen. I'm sure some places did, but it wasn't us.
But you haven't had much snow before that, right?
No, we had 0.
Yeah. So I mean, it's still a shock to just go. I mean, if you could like creep it up, be like, oh, we had 1 inch, and then we had a couple, but then just to go from 0 to 9, you're like, whoa.
Yeah, it just I don't like snow, which puts me in a problem area because I live in Illinois where it snows.
Yeah.
And I feel like sometimes I used to literally take it personal. I thought they were like it was coming after me. I didn't like it. Anyway, folks.
I'm kind of a believer that I should snow shouldn't come to me. I should go to it. And I don't live in that place either where that's the case. But
that's
someday.
a great way to look at it. Yeah.
Someday.
Yeah, someday for me as well. I think it's getting closer than I even think. I think, I just got to get Ursula to get out there and shovel a couple more times and she'll just be like,
we're moving. Screw this, we're done.
We're moving. Anyway. All right. So on the agenda today, it's going to kind of be a little hodgepodge. We
got some stuff.
We got some stuff to talk about. But so we'll just get into it. We'll just talk about the NFL real quick. Bears won. That's 2 in a row. I don't think that's happened for a long time, so I'm kind of excited about it. It doesn't mean a damn thing. I realize that to all the people that, are rolling their eyes. I understand. It doesn't mean a thing. I think what's the score right now? The Packers are doing what to the Vikings?
It is halftime. The Packers are up 20. The Vikings are at 3.
Yeah, well, I think most people predicted that since Kirk Cousins wasn't going to be there. It's just hard to move that offense if he doesn't have it. But some crazy stuff happened today in the NFL that I just wanted to catch up on. And if anybody's on the live chat, maybe you guys can let us know. I think Greg has less of an idea than I do. I understood that all of a sudden in the third quarter, Antonio Brown, who is a huge problem child, and I even hate giving him any type of pub as we're speaking about this, but he started just taking off all of his equipment, took off his shirt, did jumping jacks in the end zone and quit. He just basically walked into the back of the back to the locker room.
Yeah, he walked back to the he literally just said, screw it, I'm done. Yeah, and quit.
Yeah.
But why?
I think he was frustrated during the game. He was frustrated during the game. He probably, I don't know. He probably talked to a coach that probably told it. Like the coach, look, when you're like coaching, there's very few coaches that can. Maybe it's different now, but they probably told him, Antonio, quit being a little bitch about it and just go out there and play football, and you'll get yours or something, whatever. But it was a great game at the end. I think with like 15 minutes left, Tom Brady threw a touchdown pass with 0 timeouts to pull the win out. So he did it again, which is always impressive to me. The fact that like a person even Aaron Rodgers, those people that are just so consistent with it. It's like it's not a big deal. Anyway. All
right, before we go on, shout out to Marshall.
Hey, Marshall. How are you? Oh my God, I forgot to. If you want to be like Marshall, please like and subscribe and join the cause on this lovely podcast. Greg, we forgot to.
We do. We got to do our little sacrifice to the internet gods, and especially the people that we partner with, who is Audible. So if you're into the hundreds of thousands of audiobooks that they have available, I would suggest go out, get yourself some dark fantasy or a good romance novel to cuddle up in these cold months. Valentine's Day is right around the corner now. Go to audibletrial.com/JATG for a 30-day free trial on us. If you like it, you can keep it on your own. If you don't like it, cancel anytime. No problem at all. Like I said, hundreds and thousands. I don't know. Maybe they crested 1 million. I've never really checked into that. I should. But just millions of hours of listening material on there, from audiobooks to podcasts to educational material to even just daily news. You can get on there and find that as well. And podcasts. So get your podcasts on there as well. So if you want to try that out on us, it's audibletrial.com/JATG.
Yes. Thank you very much, guys. Go out there, get your Audible on 30-day free. All right. Gosh, what a kind of a bummer the end of the year turned out to be.
Yeah. And honestly, I mean, people are talking about like 2021 was such a shitty year, and they were happy to see it go. And it got in its last couple swings there at the end. I honestly had a pretty, not compared to 2020. Yeah. I thought 2021 was not as bad, but some people still had some pretty bad years, and I understand that. But
there was this huge. I guess they call it the Omicron variant of COVID that just seems like a Transformer bad guy's coming after you.
Yeah.
And it's just basically, they should have just called it the cold variant, because it just, from what I understand, it just seemed like it was a really bad cold. I'm not saying for all. I'm just saying for most people that I talked to that caught it, and it seemed like everybody caught it this holiday season. And then,
I mean, numbers are exploding, especially, I mean, Illinois too. Yeah, I did see that. Yep. Like Chicago's going back into like lockdown mode.
Are we?
I thought so. Somebody said like they're starting to restrict more and more. Maybe it's just businesses doing it themselves. Maybe it's not. But Wisconsin, like, numbers are going through the roof. Things like that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. So, and then you get this every year. Actually, you do get this every year. I'm actually shocked about it. I actually would like to see the statistics about this. Like, is there a certain time? Because I'm starting to build a theory that at the end of the year, right after Christmas, you get some people like, and I'm talking celebrities here right now,
right?
Celebrities that pass away.
Yep.
And we got hammered pretty, like, not hammered. There was two big ones.
Two big ones. One from the sports industry, one from the entertainment industry.
Right. Yeah.
Beloved people.
Yes. Absolutely beloved. So I guess we'll go first with John Madden.
Yep.
Because that's a good transition from football. Wow. Greg, we're at that time where all the people we knew when we were kids or when we're growing up are starting to pass away, and it gets really scary.
It is. Yep.
Yeah. It starts shaking you a little bit. Look, John Madden, I did not know this man was a football coach. All right. When I started watching him, he was the guy on TV, and he made a cool little video game. That's how I grew up him.
Really?
Grew up knowing about him. Yeah, that's how I knew. John Madden has the highest winning percentage of any head coach who has won 100 games or more.
Mm-hmm.
He is the highest percentage. He won 70. Basically, in 10 years, he won 75% of his games.
Yeah.
That's better than Bill Belichick. That's better than Nick Saban, who that might be wrong about Nick Saban, but that's college. In the pros,
he's hell of a coach.
Yeah, hell of a coach. For the Oakland Raiders, I think he won 1 Super Bowl or 2. I'm not sure about Super Bowls.
And that's why I remember hearing that, like, his coaching percentage of how winning of a coach he was. Yeah. He didn't have the Super Bowls to show for it, but definitely, an amazing coach.
Yeah. But I think where he really reached people was in the broadcast booth.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing better. And I will say to this day, there's still nobody better than John Madden, Pat Summerall, doing a Green Bay game.
Yeah.
He loved Brett Favre. Brett Favre was Brett Favre. And he would, oh man. But the impact he had, I don't think we really understand or appreciate how much he actually helped take a sport like football and made it simple for people to understand through his video game, as well as how he would explain what was happening out on the field. there's a couple of things I just want to let you guys know that he invented. That little yellow line you guys see that they have to
first
get
down
to
line.
get a first down. He invented that. He came up with that idea to help people at home understand it more. He was the first one that said, okay, cool. So when do I get to talk to the coaches? And they were like, what are you talking about? Talk to the coaches. He goes, well, I need to meet them before I do the game. I want to see what they're thinking, how they think they're going to defend this guy, or, who are their standouts. And the networks were like, oh, hey, that's a great idea. Let's interview the players and the coaches. They never did that before John Madden. He brought a lot to a broadcast. Everything you guys take for granted now, he was the guy that kind of thought of all these things.
When you bring up like how you got to know John Madden, for some reason I always knew he was a coach. I don't know why. I mean, I wasn't that big of a football fan growing up, but I knew that was Coach John Madden. Like my dad just must have instilled that in me, that's John Madden. He's a coach, and he's a really good coach. He didn't really like the teams that Madden coached, but we knew that was a good coach.
Right.
And then when he went to the broadcast booth, and he was doing all these things, and obviously, the video game became a gold star standard in football video games.
Right.
And then at some point, and it came from Frank Caliendo, who's a stand-up comedian and an impressionist, that it almost he took this bit of John Madden drawing on the board and like in John Madden he would draw on the screen almost like right before the ball was snapped, and like to the network had to be like, okay, John, calm down a little bit on your marker board.
Right.
But now some kids thought like John Madden was a joke, and you're like, no, he is far from it.
Well, there's a whole generation out there who have no idea who he is. They think it's just the name of a video game.
They think he's a video game guy, and that Frank Caliendo made fun of him.
Yeah,
and you're like,
that game. I don't know the exact numbers, but it has to be the most successful franchise in terms of video games.
Well, it's one of the most successful franchises and one of the real predecessors of the esports league. And what I say esports, those are people that play video games as professionals, and then they make money off it. And when I say they make money off it, they're making millions off it. I mean, it is a full-on professional sport,
right?
Or professional competition. And really, Madden was one of the first video games where when it went online, they would do rankings. Like you would be ranked at, are you number 1 in the world? Are you top 10 in the world?
Oh, you're talking about people that played it.
People that played it.
Okay,
people that played it online were ranked against each other.
Yeah.
And that birthed into these giant tournaments, which birthed into esports. And so it wasn't just Halo and the first person shooters or Warcraft or anything else that really made that esports blow up. The first concept of it was these John Madden tournaments hold.
Yeah.
So
a lot of people learned how to actually play the game of football on John Madden.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because they originally wanted to do a 6-on-6, and John said, no, I don't want to put my name on that. So they actually delayed it 5 years.
Yep. So they could
delayed the release of that so they could figure out the linemen and figure out basically how to put the game of football onto a video game without it being like Techno Bowl.
Yeah.
And then and they taught, and that taught a lot of people, me included, on the rules. Everybody's really good at 2-minute drills. Like it taught you how to do a 2-minute drill. So it was he had such an impact in taking a sport that I think it wasn't that it wasn't popular, but I think he really helped teach the simpleness of it to where almost anybody could pick it up and understand.
There's an accessibility piece to that just comes in video games in general, where you need to make it accessible to anybody that wants to pick up a controller and play. Right. And he did that, but at the same time, it's almost like this simulation style game that is, you need to know a little bit of the strategy of football, where, if it's, the end of the first quarter, and you're on the 30-yard line and you're coming up on a fourth down. Do you go for it? Do you kick the field goal? What do you do? I mean, looking at the situation, kind of those situational strategies these coaches just learn through the game.
Right.
Well, now a 12-year-old girl could pick up the game and learn all these things.
You're right. Not only that, like that was that before I joined high school, we used to play Madden all the time, obviously. Mm-hmm. I mean, before I joined high school sports. And that was when I learned, oh, you know what? When I'm in this standard defense and I keep getting killed when they have 3 wide receivers out there. So maybe I need to put in a nickel or a dime. You understood what that stuff meant. So
you start to figure it out.
Yeah, you start really figuring it out. And that's where you figured it out. So John Madden, I will miss you personally. You were always, it just felt like you were always Sundays in the fall for me. And especially during Thanksgiving, because he invented that like multiple, the turducken. He invented that. Yeah. So that was always I don't know why, but I always had to see who got the turkey leg at the end. It was weird. But
when you're trying to make comparisons to other sports, the only one I could think of was like Bob Uecker. I mean, but Bob Uecker never, he did play.
Or Harry Carey for us.
I mean, it's one of those like level of sports people, these like legendary, sports icons that when they pass, they're felt throughout the sport.
Yeah.
And throughout the fandom of the sport.
Yeah. So it's, I remember him when he retired, he had those, I don't know if you had it at your high school. You probably did, actually. We had like a 3-man sled. Did they have an entire one for you?
Sure. Yeah, we had a 6-man sled.
A 6-man sled. He actually, when he retired, like he actually like.
Or 5. Sorry, 5-man.
Yeah, 5-man sled. He took that and put that in his garage.
Oh, really?
Just the 5-man sled from the Raiders. So
wow.
I just thought that was funny. They also did something, and this is the last thing I'll hit on John Madden. They did something today when I was watching football. They showed him. Okay, I gotta set the scene for you guys. There were 3 buckets, and it was a Super Bowl game. And the Super Bowl was it was already over, and it just had to become official. And so they're looking for that. They have that garbage time where they have to. It's already been won by the Giants. They were beating the Broncos.
Sure. Yeah,
and so there's 3 Gatorade water jugs there, and on his telestrator, you know how he always left the draw on it.
Yep.
He put an M next to one and an F next to the other, and he said, "Now, all right, this one's the male, cooler, and this one's the daddy cooler, and over here is Junior." And they keep pouring, they keep reducing. He goes, "This one's meant for the head coach. This goes to a coordinator, and this goes to a to a player or something." He created an entire story on 3 buckets of Gatorade of who was going to get splashed.
Who's going to get
and the way he did it, you were into it. Like, if you were to walk up to a production crew and go, "All right, guys, this is what I want to do," they'd be like, yeah, let's not do, let's just focus on the game."
Right.
So, all right, John, we'll miss you. R.I.P., buddy. You will be missed. The next one, this one hurt. It still hurts every time I think about it. I think I was the first to know it between the 2 of us.
Yeah, you called me on it.
I called him up, and it sounded like Greg was having a really good time in the car singing.
I was singing away in the car.
Yeah. And I ruined it for him because he's like, I remember the conversation. He said, he goes, "Dude, you're interrupting me. I'm singing in the car." I said,
"Yeah,
Betty White died." And he goes,
it was more like Betty White died.
Yeah.
I mean, you were like octaves higher.
Yeah. I was like, "Betty White died, man." And he goes, "No." And that's how I felt. I think pretty much anybody that I constantly send like Instagram messages to and stuff.
Yep.
I sent them that. I was heartbroken, man. It's like everybody's grandmother died.
Yeah, pretty much.
And oh man, Betty White died. Greg, did you know about her before the Golden Girls? Because I didn't.
No,
Okay.
not I wasn't aware of who she was before Golden Girls. I think I knew that she was on another show because she was on another couple other shows before that, like in the 80s.
Yeah.
And I just recognized her as, that lady.
Yeah, that lady.
But yeah, it wasn't until she really hit the Golden Girls that it really took off for her.
Her character Rose.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which was interesting. She had auditioned for Blanche, which was, the
B. Arthur. Oh no, the slut.
The slut. Yeah, the slutty one. Yeah. Was that right?
No, that wasn't B. Arthur, but Blanche was the slut. Yeah.
Blanche was the slut. Yeah. And so they had her read for it, and they're kind of like, this doesn't, it didn't feel like, and so they said, well, would you like to read for Rose? And she said, well, yeah, I'll read for anything. And she read for Rose, and they said she just knocked it so far out of the park. They're like, this is you.
Yeah. And Greg was telling me that she did a lot for TV.
Yeah, she there's a great, did you find the special that I told you about?
I did not.
I'm trying to find it now so I can tell the people where to get it. But they did, I can't remember if it's like Hulu or Netflix or one of the streaming services did a retrospective on Betty White of like, here's what she did.
Yeah.
And she did a bunch of radio work, and I'm looking at her Wikipedia page right now. She did some radio work in the 40s and early 50s. But then when television really started to hit out, so from 52 to 59, there was the Betty White Show and a show called Date with Angels. And that the Betty White Show, it was a variety show, but it was one of the first variety shows.
Really?
And she was the female host, which didn't happen.
Yeah, I was going to say that didn't happen a lot, except Lucille Ball.
And here's one. She was the first. It was a first for an American network variety television show that featured African American performers, because she was a staunch anti-racist, and so she just brought on any talent that she had found, and
you were talented,
she was. Yep. Let's see. She had criticism that followed when NBC expanded the show nationally. Local Southern stations threatened to boycott her unless African Americans were removed from the series. And her response was, "I'm sorry, live with it." Like, it was like, "I'm sorry, you're a dick. I'm sorry, you're a dick. You just live with that."
Yeah.
So
pioneer
had a long, really a pioneer in TV. I mean, did a lot for women, and then here's the sitcom did give White some positive experiences. She met Lucille Ball while working on it. This is the Date with an Angel. Let's see. And those two had friendships that Betty White and Lucille Ball were friends over the years, and they relied on each other through, marriage issues and just life issues, personal loss, but then also being two like power women in early television
in that industry.
Lucille Ball was another one that, everybody thinks just I Love Lucy, but she had an entire production company, was practically heading up, I think it was NBC studio. There was like another president, but that president had, Lucy had more power than that guy did. But Betty White was there too, and doing lots of other things. So,
and now it just seemed like she did it the right way.
Yeah, she really had no scandals. She got divorced once, but that's not really scandalous, I don't think. But
it's not scandalous.
Let's see. She did Mama's Family and Golden was another one of her productions that she really she didn't star on, but she backed a lot.
Did she? I hated that show.
You know what? I think if you go back and watch at least clips of that show, you'd find it funny.
You think so?
Yeah. Like as a child, I watched that show.
I knew the girl that played Mama was a friend of Lucille Ball. She was in all of her like comedy shows and stuff like that.
Yes, you are correct.
Yeah.
And then really for like this kind of more current generation, she did a movie with Ryan Reynolds, The Proposal. Ryan Reynolds and Sandra Bullock, where she kind of plays like this dirty old lady a little bit, which everybody was like, "Oh, that's kind of funny."
Yeah.
But then she started to get guest spots on these other shows, and then eventually came out with her own show again, which was Hot in Cleveland.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Hot in Cleveland, which was on TV Land, which no one ever goes, oh, let's pop over to TV
right.
Land.
Yeah,
but here she has like this Emmy-winning show that she just kind of, a full run scripted comedy on.
I gotta watch that. I've never watched
TV
it.
Land. Yeah, you know what? I never have either, other than I've seen clips of it.
Yeah. Great. Hang on. Did she pioneer the dirty old lady that everybody loves?
I don't know. That's certainly Wikipedia isn't going to say that, but
yeah.
Or
like
I would
say the grandmother that would take a shot. The cool grandma.
I would say between her and Cloris Leachman.
Why can't I think of
Cloris
why
Leachman?
Can't I picture her?
She was in a lot of Mel Brooks
yes. I know.
She played a dirty old lady in some of the
she died this year too.
Stuff. No, I think it was a couple years ago.
Are you sure?
Not entirely, but
okay. She was the grandmother in Malcolm in the Middle, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
But anyway, among Betty's, TV accolades, entertainment, the other thing that she was really, really into is that she did a ton of work for animals. She was very much an animal rights activist and put a lot of money into just, she just loved animals. So that was because even like now you see a lot of people attributing, like they're sharing posts or they're saying, here's a quote that Betty White said. It's like, that's really not her. She was an entertainment person, and then very much she loved animals. She worked hard in animal welfare, did a lot with the Los Angeles Zoo, had a couple of wildlife foundations that she really supported. That was.
I actually remember one of those, for a cup of coffee a day, you can help feed a homeless pet or something.
Mm-hmm.
I remember. Yeah. I remember her with that. Yes. By the way, Cloris Leachman did die January 27th, 2021. So it was
really early this year.
Yeah, really early. Yeah. So both of those dirty grandmothers or those cool grandmothers we love so much that we always got a kick out of.
Well, and I had just read because when Betty White was married,
who'd she marry? Just anybody or?
Well, there was Alan Ludden was her long-term husband. She met him on the game show Password, where she was a celebrity guest.
Okay.
A couple appeared together on an episode of The Odd Couple when they were on Password. But Alan Ludden, he passed away in 81, and then she was single from 81 till now. But he was originally from Mineral Point, Wisconsin, which is where he is buried, and Betty White is going to be buried next to her husband. So
good for her.
She'll be up here in Wisconsin. So
good for her. Yeah, so you sent me something on Betty White that I thought was, and I'm going to paraphrase, I don't have it word for word, but I'd like to give the guy credit. Do you remember what you sent me? You sent me some sort of a thing where this guy just made up like, no, I refuse to believe that Betty White. Yeah. How did you sent it to me and I got a kick out of it, and I loved it.
She didn't just die. Yeah, go ahead.
It's from Otep Shamea.
It doesn't matter.
Okay. Well, he says, nope, Betty White didn't die. No. She grabbed 2021 by the throat and whispered in its ear, and I can picture her doing this. I'm taking you with me, you son of a bitch. And then she threw them both into the fires of Mordor to save us all. That's my fucking story, and I'm sticking to it. It's canon. Deal with it.
Yeah, I like that one, and I also like what I thought of. Unless someone else did, and I don't know. I thought of it. I'm going to say I thought of it. Is that she didn't die. She's become the patron saint of New Year's Eve. So we've got like Santa Claus, we've got the Easter Bunny, leprechauns, and now we have Betty White on New Year's Eve, where she wanted everybody to throw a party as she left this earth, and it just so happened New Year's Eve was the best time to do that. So, so every year on New Year's Eve, people will be raising glasses to the new year
and Betty White. Yes. Yeah. I think that's a great way to look at it. So, and that's good. But there was quite a lot of people left us in 2021. Do you ever go through that list? I went through it this year.
I usually do around the Oscars because I know they're going to do a moratorium.
Yeah.
But
quite a lot of people. like I want to say Dolores. That's not her name. It's
Cloris
Leachman. Leachman.
Ah, she was so funny. So funny.
Yeah, she was. She was very funny. Where is it? I had it here and now I lost it.
I've got a list up.
Go for it.
Well, of course, Betty White. I'm only going to say the people that I know.
Yes, I know.
Because here's a guy. They're like, he was on a reality show. I'm like, I don't know.
Alex Trebek, Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah.
Obviously Betty White. I'm not going to give people that were like on 90 Day Fiance.
No, I'm not.
Not that your death didn't matter. It's just that
we would say your name and half our audience would go.
So the guy that was in Bosom Buddies with
Peter Scolari.
Yes, he died. Yeah. The guy in Sex and the City is Stanford Blanche. I never watched that show, but this guy's pretty. If you guys can see that guy.
Yep, Will Garrison. Yeah. We do have one.
Norm Macdonald.
We got somebody on here who he said, would Betty White's death be as big of a deal if she had not been so close to turning 100? And I think so. I think
yes, absolutely.
If she was, 87, I think it was more about her body of work. Now the fact that she was close to 100, that was a big deal. But when George Burns died, no one was like celebrating because he had just made it that long. They were celebrating him because of his work. And like so I think Betty White
was everybody's grandma.
Yeah. It was her work on Golden Girls, her work post Golden Girls, stuff like that. And then the impact she had on women in television, I think is really what should be celebrated. So Norm Macdonald left us. He was a great stand-up comedian.
Michael K. Williams, who is from The Wire.
Yep. Which was a Sun one. Like no one saw that one coming.
Yeah.
I don't know who that lady is.
I don't know. Biz Marquis. I have no. I don't. I
really?
doubt. I doubt I've even heard a song that he's done. But
you have. He's the one who did the. You say she's just a friend, but it's really off key. You got what I need.
Oh, him. Okay.
Yeah. Charlie Watts, drummer for that one band, Rolling Stones.
Robert Downey Sr.
Yeah. So, Jackie Mason, another great stand-up.
Richard Donner.
Rip. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
July 5th, 2021.
Yep. That did happen. That was a bad one.
Yeah.
I have a feeling we're like looking at the same list and you're just a little bit
ahead of you. Yeah. Couple more. Gavin McLeod, who is he was the captain of the Love Boat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I heard about that one.
I'm trying to see if there's anybody else. There was a couple. Yeah. I didn't. Charles Grodin. That was a big one. Remember Charles Grodin?
Yeah, I do. And he was actually a lot funnier than people gave him credit for. He's that really dry humor. Yes. That was, he was just really good.
And all of you 80 people out there, and I'm talking to you, Marshall, because I pictured you might have been rocking in this a little bit with your, let me guess, by that time. You think Marshall had a mullet back then in the 80s?
I don't remember him having a mullet, but no, possible.
Okay. Tawny Katane. Tawny Katane from Is This Love? And Here I Go Again on White Snake.
White Snake's redheaded model.
Yeah.
He was something. He was at least part of my childhood for sure.
She was something for sure.
But she was a looker. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, absolutely. She was beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm getting a bunch of people that
DMX was a big one.
DMX.
And I don't know what they've got him like celebrities, music people, and then I just scroll through and it's Prince Philip.
Jessica Walter. Really? She's the mom from Arrested Development.
Yep. Well, and George Segal, who, another good comedian, but his last project was the granddad out of Goldberg's.
Pops. Yeah.
Yeah, he was Pops.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, some of the look, there was a ton, obviously. Rush Limbaugh, Larry Flint.
Christopher Plummer.
Yes, Christopher Plummer. Yeah.
Screech.
Dustin Diamond. Yep. I think we are on the same one. Cloris Leachman, Hal Holbrook,
Larry
King. Oh, that's a young one.
Yeah, that model actress.
Jung. Yeah.
Fell. Oh, it says the cause of her death was not. I thought she fell off a balcony. Oh.
Hank Aaron.
Was a big one. Yeah.
Mia Furlan from Lost and Babylon 5. I don't know her.
Oh. Huh.
Yeah.
That's too bad.
Randy Parton.
I feel bad that I didn't hear about like some of these.
Yeah.
But you know what? I got out of the news cycle for ins and outs this year.
I get it.
I just couldn't do it.
Phil Spector, good. He was a horrible person. He was a legendary music producer who probably killed a bunch of people and then got away with it until he didn't. The other part of Siegfried and Roy. Siegfried died. John Riley. I think that's about it. So, yeah. So I think that happens every year, but what do you think there's part of that with the whole, like, hey, after Christmas, I just want to make it through one more Christmas and then I'll let go type of thing.
Maybe.
What do you think? You're not sure? Maybe. This is the first time I've actually thought of it, so I have nothing to really back it up, but I was just sitting there wondering, maybe not. Yeah.
We have a comment in here. Who was head of the Donner? Richard Donner, head of the Donner Party? No, he was the director of Superman,
Lethal Weapon,
The Goonies.
Yeah, he was a really good director in the 80s. Really did some good work.
Yeah. And like varied work. Like he didn't stick to one genre. He would do a lot of different stuff.
Yeah. Didn't he do? Oh, that's Robert Zemeckis. I thought he did Back to the Future. That was Robert Zemeckis.
That was Robert Zemeckis.
Yeah.
But he was Richard Donner is like that old school. Like he was one of the hot guys, hot directors that came out of like UCLA, along with with Spielberg and Lucas and the guy that did The Godfather.
God, why can't I think of his name?
I bought his wine.
I bought his wine the other. Coppola?
Oh yeah, Coppola. Yep, Coppola. Yeah. I mean, he was part of that group of like young hot filmmakers that came out of Southern California at the time, and just like
was it Coppola that did The Godfather?
No, it wasn't.
It's the guy that's always hanging out with Leonardo DiCaprio, right? Yes. He always has him in his movie.
Why can I not think of his name?
Help us out, people that are listening. Who directed The Godfather? Before Greg looks it up, who's fast? We got anybody?
Maybe, but I'm not looking.
Martin Scorsese.
Let's go Scorsese. Yes,
Scorsese. Thank you. Yes.
Why can I not think of that?
I beat Greg.
Yeah.
Hey, I gotta take my victories just like the Bears. There's not a lot, so I gotta take them. Yeah.
It's funny. I mean, I can talk movies like all day, and as soon as this mic goes on, for some reason, I'm like, dude, there's one guy did a thing.
Yeah. I agree. I have the best intros right before I hit record.
That's true.
In my head.
Well, even
best intro in my head, and all of a sudden I hit record. I'm like, I think we're live.
Well, and there are times when like you and I mean, we hang out after the mics turn off and the cameras go off for like an hour, and then we have a whole conversation. We're like, man, we should have been recorded. That was good. That was good stuff.
Yeah. We have a lot of really good conversations on we have a lot of really good conversations on the phone or on but we never can.
Well, it's funny, like some of the family stuff or some of the like husband stuff we talk about, and it's good. It's like, would you want to like? I don't know if I want to put that.
Yeah, not all.
I don't know. I don't know if I want to put all that out there.
Yeah, you don't want to put all that out there because once it's out there forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a little hesitant on those. Hey, you and we did bring up one thing that we have never brought to the table here, and it was something that I thought was very interesting. I guess it's something that we can give our listeners moving into the new year. You threw a stat at me that you said, I think statistically they're showing that it's not really as bad as people say it is out there. Like the media is telling us the world's bad. It's all coming to an end. and it's actually not actually right.
That right. So that statistic that we were talking about was crime rates. I mean, just right. In general, crime rates, and crime rates have dropped significantly from the 80s to today. I mean, when you look at the trends of like crime rates, and I'm not talking about specific crime, this is all encompassing crime rates.
Right.
They have dropped from the 1980s until today. In some cases, like over 25%. I mean, which is significant. So, but the thing is, with the invention of social media and the internet, where we can hear about every crime, for right down to the the local level up through like federal stuff, and you can hear it from everywhere. So it gets reported quicker, factually or not. It will be reported much quicker, and then we get to hear about more crime. So, I mean, you go back to, I'm going to say the mid 90s. So mid 90s, just before the internet really took off. Like if there was a crime, a heinous crime in Mobile, Alabama.
Yeah.
We didn't hear about it.
Yeah.
But
you're right.
now through Google News or whatever else, if it's a heinous crime and it'll make a headline, it's going to show up in your feed and you're going to be like, oh my God, some guy killed 7 people down in Mobile, Alabama.
Right. Exactly.
And so you hear about it. So you're just hearing about more crime where in actuality, the rates are dropping. So
that's good to hear. It's good to hear.
Yeah, it's good to hear. I mean, it gives you some insight though, as to like the news feeds, and
the machine
like,
that they're running. Yeah.
That media machine. We have a friend, and she worked at a news station in the Milwaukee area for a while. And she quit because there was,
we have a friend, or the Struleys have a friend?
It doesn't matter. But
okay.
I know a woman.
Okay.
And she worked in the news area, like the bullpen, whatever you want to call it.
Right. Yeah.
And there was a shooting in Milwaukee a couple of years ago at a Sikh temple, and it was a horrible, mass shooting kind of situation. So they run in and they said there was a mass shooting at the Sikh temple. Cops are there now. Here's how many dead. And the entire newsroom just cheered because they're like, great news day. We got something to do. Let's get. So they're applauding this kind of event. And she's like, I can't do this. And she literally went into her boss, while this craziness is happening. She's like, this is messed up. I'm out of here. And she left. So
good for her.
Yeah.
Has she, do you know if she's ever looked back? Like, damn,
No. She works for the one of the medical colleges here in Wisconsin now.
Good for her. Good for her.
Happier. So
good for her. It is messed up.
Yeah. It just really, really kind of a weird. And if you go back and you watch HBO's Newsroom, which was a great series, it would show that kind of thing where people, something big would happen in the world, big but terrible, and these news people would just salivate over it. And you're like, that's not great.
Going back a little bit to Antonio Brown, if you want to get a real microcosm, sports radio, like they will hang on to something forever.
Mm-hmm.
If it gets any type of rating, they will hold on to that topic.
Well, you can look at. What are your top stories in the boxing world right now? It's not about the current heavyweight champion. It's about some social media star who's trying to box, and they're like, "Look at him win! Look at him do this!" And they're all this stuff.
Good point.
And it's just like, can I watch some real boxing? Is that a possibility?
Exactly. Yeah.
Instead of watching some kid who's trying to be a boxer
that pulls people out of retirement that don't even have no business boxing.
Well, and even the last fight where I saw the clip of his knockout, and you're like, wow, that looked like a significant knockout. But because it's on media and because people are going to pick it apart, they sang his guard. You see, just before the knockout, he does like this little signal, and that's where the guy drops his guard and he just cold cocks it.
Oh, you saying that was planned?
That's what they're saying now. Yeah.
Oh,
that it was totally rigged.
Well, that's interesting. Well, I like to see that, and look, I'm not going to hide from the guy. We're talking about Jake Paul. Look, Jake, if you want to impress me, fight a boxer.
Fight a guy who's been training since he was 5.
In his prime, or as young as you are, or however age you are. Fight one of those guys.
Not a formal basketball player,
Yeah,
not
exactly.
not another YouTube kid.
Yeah, not a UFC guy who can't use all of his best choke holds or wrestle you to the ground. Like fight a real fighter. Let's see what you do. Yeah. So guys, if you're going to take anything away from this podcast and moving on to the new year, it's not as bad as people say it is. It never really is. It never really is. So I always heard somebody, because when I was going to be an actor, best acting advice I ever heard was, don't ever think you're too good and don't ever think you're too bad. Just be in the middle, because that's probably where you are. You're probably just everybody else doing your best. So, yeah. Other than that, Greg, this is kind of a short podcast today. We don't got a lot to talk about. I don't think we don't need to. We got some things down the line.
Going.
Yeah. We got some things down the line that are coming. So I think we'll close it there, Greg.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
you want to or no?
Sure, we can. I was going to say by next week, hopefully my new space will be more decorated than just the one Superman poster kind of in the background that's blocked by my big giant head. So as you're going through the week, it's the new year. Here's some things you can do. One is you're going through and you're looking at some news stories. I would know your audience, know who you're talking to, know where you're getting your sources from. So so know your audience. Number 2 is check your sources. Get multiple angles on a story. Don't just go for the one that happens to be on your local news station.
Or don't just read the title.
Don't just read the title, read the entire story and see if that story is being paid for by somebody.
Yeah.
And then number 3 is you're going through the conversations there as you're just going through the year. Don't be a douche.
Bravo. All right. For the Greg, this is Johnny saying thank you for listening to us. Take care. Happy New Year. See you next Sunday.
Hey, guys.
Bye-bye.